Hello, MGTOW. Hello, Matt. This is Howard Dare. Thanks for stopping by. And I'm happy to be here. This is Howard Dare actual, meaning this is not a recording, right? I suppose, yes, and I've done this before. I could do a live podcast and just play an older video on it. No, but I wouldn't do that. So I want to talk about improving men's lives because this is largely my focus within MGTOW. I don't care too much about, the social culture things. I don't even want myself to become too deeply involved in it. No, I will, right? Like I'll start doing it and I'll start doing that. Hey, Justin, thanks for stopping. How you doing this morning? So I'm doing pretty good. And it's Friday. Wanting to talk about improving men's lives because I believe that this is should be the focus of MGTOW. I'm not here to complain. I'm not here to find fault. I'm not here to have a bunch of excuses. I'm not here to play the victim. I'm not here to act like I'm all offended and upset. I don't want to be all offended and upset. If I'm offended and upset, I'm usually off my game. You know what I mean? Like a football player telling you your mother is ugly, right? It's like, oh, you've just gotten a little bit too angry. So I don't think it helps us to do that. And I know that advertising, marketing, cultural propaganda, indoctrination operates on operates on these particular principles of making you feel emotion. All right, it doesn't matter what the point is. If they can get us to get upset, to get angry, the rational mind shuts down. The emotions take over, and once a man or anybody is in that state of mind, well, it's over. You know what I mean? They're not going to bring their best resources to the situation. That is what you're going to need to be able to do. That is what I need to do. So I've got a few tips for you on how to improve your life. If you want to, you certainly don't have to. Okay. You can have, your basic life where you just get on by and you don't cause too much trouble and you are never the nail that stands out. And not so great, not so bad. That's not even a really foolish way to go about it, in my opinion. Keep those expectations reasonable and you're not going to be too disappointed. But keep them high enough so that, you know, you're aiming for something. Incidentally, that is the true meaning of the story of Icarus. Uh, it's not, and if you fly too high on borrowed wings, the sun will melt your wings and you will surely die. Yeah, that's one part. But we took the other part of it out, which was, and if you fly too low, the water, the ocean will get in your wings, drag you down, and you will surely die. So the message of that story was don't aim too high, don't aim too low. And we took the second part out of the story. From like the 1850s on, the German schools on which we are based, that part of the story was taken out. So, my point is that men are being abused. All right. Now, I don't want to spend too much time, in this because, it disempowers people. But yes, there is a need for MGTOW. All right. There is a need for someone like Howard Dare to come on here and say, here's a few tips on improving men's lives because of the cultural situation. And I've explained a lot of what's going on there, and I will explain a lot more. Okay. First tip. This is a Stoic principle. Stop complaining. Okay. Stop finding fault. I'm going to combine a few principles here into this one. You don't need to have an opinion on everything. Okay. Your opinion to yourself about what a situation is you pretty much just wasting your time. Okay. You get to You don't have to have an opinion about the weather. You don't have to have an opinion about every car that drives by you. You don't have to have an opinion about every girl that walks by you. You don't have to have an opinion about every little news story that gets flashed in front of your face over the course of a day, because there's going to be thousands of them. All right? You're going to save your opinions. You're going to save your ideas for the things that matter in your life. You're not going to, you shouldn't waste your energy, okay, in this mindless, finding fault, because it really boils back down to this idea of the stories that we tell ourselves, and if you want to tell yourself a victim story, it might be true, incidentally. And let's say that it is true, where you are cast in this, terrible suffering role that's completely disempowered. Okay. That's going to make you feel sick. Now, if you were to say to yourself, well, I lost that fight, and it came out of nowhere and I wasn't expecting it and it wasn't fair, like, I wouldn't say that the other, I wouldn't say that anybody won the fight, just merely that I lost the fight. Excuse me, I'm lighting my cigarette. Right? Bad habit. So I had quit smoking, right, for a long time. And yeah, then I got arrested. I was in jail for a while, and I got out. I still wasn't really out, but I got out, and somebody was like, "Hey, man, you want a cigarette?" And I was like, "No, I don't smoke." And then I was like, "Yeah, give me a cigarette," right? Because it had been taken away from me. The ability to have it had been taken away. So these stories that we tell ourselves, they're not entirely true. Uh, you can just as well tell yourself a story that empowers you. Okay. So the mind needs to be focused on your tasks and your goals, not on meaningless foolishness, that kind of appeals to the weakness of the ego. It's not my fault. Now it might, I'm not saying that it is your fault. I'm, as a man, I know it's not, but don't burden yourself with, your own feelings and, the injustice of it all. You've got better things to do, right? Okay. And this combines the Stoic principles of, not complaining, not having an opinion on everything, not finding fault with everything, understanding that we are telling ourselves a story that is not entirely the truth of it. It's partially there. And the reality of it sometimes doesn't matter as much as how you deal with it. Okay. Here's a sub tip. Okay. This is tip number 1, subsection B. How you do something sometimes matters a lot more than what you do. Okay. How you ask for something matters potentially more than whether or not you're worthy of it, or you have earned it, or deserve it. Okay. You